Sharp Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com, off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And today I'm going to talk about some of the dumbest mistakes I made in the dating game. And this goes back to me being in high school all up to about the age of 32, I would say. And I mean, if I look back on a lot of my mistakes that I made, it was just, some of the shit was just stupid. Some of it was just being young and dumb. And some of it is just kind of crazy. But I'm going to talk about that. And so there's no order when it comes to this. I'm going to just get to it. One of the biggest mistakes I made is, I used to try to make a girl my girlfriend. It's just kind of a weird dynamic. It's like if I'm talking to a girl after a couple weeks, couple months, and the relationship progress, we spend more time together, we having sex, we're getting to know each other, we vibing, we hanging out with each other's friends, we getting to know, I might even meet her parents, maybe not, but over a certain amount of time, all of a sudden I might say something like this: hey, where is this going? Are we going to be in a relationship? Or are you going to be my girlfriend or what? I might say something like that. And a couple of times, it was kind of like, things got uncomfortable. A couple of times. And a couple of the girls just didn't know what to say. And a couple of girls started laughing at me. Right? So I caught on after a while, and I just stopped saying that shit. I mean, because it's just some silly shit. I just didn't know, and I didn't get this from anywhere. I didn't get this. I didn't pick this up from my parents, nothing like that. I kind of just came up with this shit on my own. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, women do the choosing. And when they come to you as a man, it's up to you whether you're gonna upgrade them and bring them on your team and invite them in your circle or not. So women do the choosing, guys don't. So I stopped doing that shit, and I just focus on having a good time and having fun, regardless of who I'm around. And if I can't have a good time around you, well, I just cut you off and keep it moving. So that's just something I used to try to do. I used to try to make her my girlfriend. It's silly. That's just some shit I used to do. You know what I mean? And another thing I used to do, I used to assume that after spending time with a girl and we vibing and all that shit, I used to assume that I'm the only guy she's fucking. And a lot of women, they kind of play on this way of thinking as well. Because if you don't say anything about her talking to anybody else, or if she doesn't say anything about me talking to anybody else, it doesn't get talked about. So I used to assume that if she ain't saying nothing, I know I'm not going to say anything about anybody else. And we having sex and she's telling me how much she like it. And a couple of women told me that I was the best and all the bullshit. So I just assume if they like it so much, and some of them told me that I was the best, I just assumed that, well, I'm the only guy I guess she's sleeping with, right? But nope, No, I got a rude awakening. It happened like 3 times. It happened twice in high school, and it happened while I was in the Navy. It doesn't work out like that. Just because, I mean, unless y'all have until proven otherwise, unless y'all had some type of agreement, don't assume shit. That's the lesson that I've learned, and that's what you should do. Don't assume shit. Don't assume anything until proven otherwise, or unless it's been discussed. You know, and women, they play on it, you know, because if you don't say anything, they won't say anything either, 9 times out of 10. So that's what I used to do, man. And another thing I used to do is I used to play Captain Save 'em. I used to try to save them hoes. Yeah, because what happens is you might have some of these girls used to hit me up with the sob story, tell me about something that happened. Maybe they lost a job, maybe they lost a car, or maybe something drastic probably happened or whatever, or maybe I've heard a bunch of stories, but a lot of them is lies. That's the thing, because a lot of times, I'm sitting down at a table and she tells me about, maybe her car broke down or something like that. See, and it's something within me at the time that just wanted to solve her problem, right? But the problem with that is mostly it was a lie. See, and then I used to give me $30 or $40 or whatever, so she can get to work, or catch the train, or catch the bus, or whatever, or at least get her car, give her some money to get her car fixed, or whatever the case may be, whatever, right? But I realized most of the time they were lying, because shortly after that, they cut me off. So I was like, oh, these motherfuckers is lying after a while, you know what I'm saying? And then don't be trying to solve anybody else's problems. Now, if you're sitting down with somebody and they tell you a story of what happened and how they're solving the problem, now it's okay if you support them, but they have to take the initiative. They have to figure out what's best for them. You shouldn't have to take the initiative and take the charge and figure out what's best for them. So don't save them. That's what I used to do. And I don't really know where I picked that up from either, because I think coming from the family that I'm from, we're a very supportive, caring, loving family or whatever. So I like to see people win. But a lot of people, a lot of women especially, will play on that. They will try to manipulate you, because a lot of women that are good manipulators, they can pick up on your I guess your strengths and your weaknesses to an extent, and that's subjective and based on how she sees it. So don't save them. And the next thing I used to do is I had sex without condoms. A lot. I'm afraid to say, and I've had a lot of sex with a lot of women. I didn't plan it to be. I didn't plan it to be that way, though. And I'm not bragging about it, and it's nothing to brag and boast about, in my opinion. Even though I know it's a double standard in society. Guys are sometimes being praised in society, but I never thought it was anything to brag about, to be honest. And when I look back on it now, I would, if I could have it my way, I wouldn't fuck with half of the women that I did have sex with. If I could rewind the time and go backwards. Now, I've always been picky as far as who I slept with. I never actually slept with anybody, slept with a woman, and afterwards thought that you know, I'm worried about I might have a disease or something like that. I never slept with anybody like that, you know. But at the same time, I could have got a lot of these women pregnant, and at the time, I wasn't ready to have any babies. I mean, I'm in the military, and and even when I got out the military, I'm traveling around all over the place, and I was kind of wow, and I'm going out of town every week, so I wasn't really in a position to have any kids. But I got 2 women pregnant. Well, I don't know about one of them, but I got the same woman pregnant twice, and at the time she was a diabetic, and she didn't want the risk of having a child being a diabetic. So the first time, she got 2 abortions. The first abortion she got, and I didn't even know about it until after the fact. She didn't tell me shit. And then the second time, she actually told me about it. She came to me about it and told me what was up. And I paid for it, the second one. And she was a diabetic, and it's a high risk and everything. So I said, hey, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the second girl, I kind of had my doubts. I didn't think I did it. I mean, my pull-out game is good, but I know that ain't 100%. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I didn't think I got her pregnant, because her grandmother called me one day and told me to come over to the house. She wanted to tell me something. And she told me that she was talking to another guy, and she's been dating the guy on and off before we even met, right? And so I said, oh, but I didn't know that. And then one day I went to the grandmother's house, and the other guy was there, and the other guy was wanted to slap her. So they were going at it on the porch. When I pulled up, the guy, he was about to slap her, and I'm just getting out the car. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should leave or stay or whatever the case is. But when I saw them arguing and going at it on the porch, I knew something was up. Somebody doing some fucking. You know what I'm saying? So what happened with that situation is she paid half, I paid half, and she got an abortion, and that was that. And that's when I learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes it's good, even though you might have your doubts about whether something is true or not. Sometimes it's good to just pay to get rid of a problem. You know, sometimes it's just good to pay to get rid of a problem, even though I know I kind of didn't believe that I got her pregnant, but hey, it was all good. She moved on, I moved on, and that was it. So I got 2 girls pregnant, allegedly, and that was it. You know, but you gotta use condoms, man. Even if you have to go outside your car or drive down to the store and get it. Now, I know it's easy said than done, because we get caught up in the moment and things happen, you know, when we least expect. And a lot of people in the heat of the moment, and some people are drinking and getting high and all that shit. But, you know, be careful out here, man. And you got to think about it like this. If you get the wrong girl pregnant, the wrong girl meaning a girl that's don't have your best interest, a girl that's not really on your team, that doesn't really like you or care about you, your life is gonna change. You might be fucked up. For real, because a lot of these women out here today, they're trying to come up. They want more freedom. So they'll take your freedom in order for them to have more freedom. So you got to keep that in mind. Sometimes there's consequences when it comes to the decisions that you make. So try to have condoms around you as much as possible, even when you least expect, even when you think nothing might go down. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be careful out here. Don't fall for a lot of these women when they say, "Oh, I'm on the pill and we don't got to do that anymore. We known each other long enough. You don't trust me." And another thing, when you're done doing your thing with a woman, take the condom and flush it down the toilet. Don't put the condom in the trash. No, don't do that no more, because a lot of these women are see, when the guy go in the bathroom and take the condom off, women usually go in the bathroom after them and take a piss. These women are taking the sperm out the condom and stuffing it inside them. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be careful out here, man. A lot of athletes get caught up like that. So be careful. And another thing I used to do is I used to think that women could make me happy. And that's like one of the biggest mistakes that men and women make today. Because happiness is an inside job. And I just learned over the years that, you know, I had cars and money and clothes and women and travel places and all that. None of that shit really made me happy. The only thing that really made me happy for a long, extended amount of time was being around my friends and family and people that I really care about. That's it. Like, if any material, it dissipates and it's shallow, and it's like taking a hot bath and it cools down and it's just another car. It's just another girl, or just another, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't really do anything for me. It's kind of like, it reminds me of when I went to, P.S. by the way, don't do this, but I used to drive, I used to go to Florida a lot, right? And I used to drive around with a lot of cash, 5, 10,000, 15,000 in my car, right? Because back then, I didn't have a credit card. All I had is a debit card, and I barely used it, right? So what I used to do was ride around with a bunch of cash. I used to go to Florida, like Jacksonville or South Florida. And on this one particular day, I was driving. I was rolling. I had a Civic, dropped low with, souped up with rims and, blacked out windows. And I was driving on 95. I remember this shit like yesterday. And I saw somebody on the side of the road. And it turns out to be a cop, but at the time I couldn't see. So I'm rolling, listening to music. I think I was listening to Young Jeezy, rolling, right? And all of a sudden I seen somebody stand on the side of the road looking like he's pointing something at me. So I'm like, who the fuck is that? Right? So I blew past the person, turned out to be a cop, and this fool jumped in his car and ran me down and stopped me, right? And so he told me to get out the car, or whatever, So I got out the car, and I had on these shorts. It's kind of like camouflage shorts at the time, and my pockets were bulging because I had a lot of money in my pocket. I have half of the money in my pocket and half of the money in my armrest, right? And this cop was like, let me see your driving license and proof of insurance. So I gave it to him, and he looking at me, and he said, hey, why your pockets is bulging like that? I said, that's my wallet and my money, right? So he was like, why you got so much money on you? Where you going? So I said, hey, I'm going to my cousin's house, Jacksonville. And he was like, he was like, well, what do you do? So I told him I don't do anything. Right? I'm unemployed. So he's like, how you got? So he started asking questions. How you got? Why you got so much money in your pocket if you're unemployed? And so he started asking some random questions or whatever. And you know, if I didn't tell this fool that I just got out the military, he would have taken my money, and I would have had to have proved later how I made the money. So this is just a side note. So don't drive around with a lot of money in your car. I did that like when I was in my early 20s, and I didn't know any better. You know, I had like $10,000-$15,000 in my car traveling at the time, and I had a lot of it in my pocket. So don't do what I did. You know what I'm saying? It's just a side note. That's something that I did that was stupid, but I didn't know any better because I didn't have anybody to tell me at the time, because I was out there by myself rolling. So, you know, you just got to be careful, man. And it's something else I used to do. I used to, like, every once in a while, I used to hang out with women that just didn't like paying for shit. Right? So what I used to do, if I'm home or wherever I'm at, and if I don't got shit to do, I'm bored or whatever, and I might know this chick, and you know, I've probably known her for a while. So if I can't get in touch with anybody else, I'll call her up just to have something to do, right? So I know she ain't gonna pay shit because I know how she roll. So what I'll do is I used to justify why I would hang out with her. So I was like, okay, I'll hang out with her. I might smash afterwards, right? And it almost never happened that way. Never. Every time I took a girl out that just don't like paying for shit, I never fucked. Not one time. The only time that I fucked only time I smashed a girl that had a pattern or reputation of not paying is when she paid. Every time they paid, I fucked. But when I was paying everything, it almost never happened. You know what I'm saying? That was just some stupid shit I used to do. But I just did it anyway because, like I said, I was bored and I was banking on, you know, I might smash, and that would justify me being around this chick. But don't do that. What you should do is have some type of standards, and you should have certain rules, and don't break them. Don't lower your standards just because you want to smash. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that shit. So these are just a couple of things that I used to do when I was younger. And, you know, when I look back on it today, you know, it's kind of silly. And a lot of it's kind of funny as well. But I'm just telling you this so you won't make the same mistakes as I did. So if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel and check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. Until next time, Sharp Game is out. Peace.